My neighbor's adult son used my pool and grill in the middle of the night, and has refused to stop trespassing. After catching him in my pool having intimacy, I called the cops on him and now everyone hates me. I moved into my house a few years ago and live alone. All of my neighbors have been pleasant and kind and there haven't been any issues since I moved in. That all changed when one day I decided to go out for a swim only to see a grown man swimming around in my pool. I screamed and asked who the hell he was. He just catcalled me and started laughing. I threatened to call the cops and that's when my neighbor popped his head over the fence to say hi and introduce his son Ryan to me. Apparently, Ryan has dropped out of college only to move back in with his parents. This is the first time I have met Ryan and apparently the old owners of my house used to let him come over and use the pool whenever he wanted growing up. So he thought it was just okay to come over and go for a swim. I told him I understand you had a deal with the previous owners, but I am not comfortable with someone using my pool without permission. His dad tried to bargain with me but I just asked for Ryan to leave my property. He shrugged, got out of the pool and left. I thought that was the end of it, until a few days later I woke up at midnight smelling smoke. I got very worried and ran around to the kitchen to find the source only to look outside and see Ryan in my backyard with 3 other guys. Ryan was at my grill cooking something, while the other guys were just chilling in my lawn chairs drinking beer and smoking pot. I walked outside and asked them all what the hell they thought they were doing here. Ryan just casually looked up at me and said, "What do you think I'm doing?" "I'm grilling." I told him it was the middle of the night. Why the hell was he grilling? He told me that earlier I said I was bothered by him being on my property while I was awake, so he thought he would just come over when I was asleep so it wouldn't bother me. I told him all of this bothered me very much, as there were 4 strange men in my backyard. "Get out." His friends looked back and forth between the two of us, one of them was laughing and the other asked if I was the one who owned the house. I said I was. He turned to Ryan and said, "Damn dude, I thought you said this was cool." Ryan told him it was cool. I was just being a pain for no reason. I told them all to get off my property or I would be calling the police. That got them all up and moving. Ryan just put a burger on a bun and calmly walked away, telling me to have fun cleaning the grill. I was so angry. I felt violated at the fact that this guy thought he could just come in and use my space whenever he wanted. I worried about if he just walked into my home one day and I would find him on my couch watching TV. I moved to a nice neighborhood so I didn't have to worry about security and such, but now I was rethinking all of that. The next day I hired some guys to come in and set up cameras and a new security system. My neighbor noticed and asked what was going on. I told him his son kept entering my property without my permission, and this was to ensure it didn't happen again. He gave me a dirty look and told me boys will be boys and I needed to stop being so uptight. I told him he needed to keep his adult son in check, because I would be calling the police next time. The cameras sparked some unease in the neighborhood, and I had a few neighbors even come over to tell me I was overreacting with the whole security thing, and making the neighborhood look bad. Even the HO tried some funny business saying the cameras weren't allowed, but I had checked and everything was up to code, so there was nothing they could do. About a month went by and there weren't any more surprise visits. I want to say it was around 2 a.m. when my phone started buzzing and beeping, alerting me to a break-in. I was scared and a bit groggy so I grabbed my firearm and stood up, staring at my door. My phone rang and it was from the security company, asking if everything was okay. I told them I didn't know and the woman informed me someone had triggered motion sensors in my backyard, and my back door had been opened. That had me terrified as I realized the intruder could be inside my home. That's when I heard a woman screaming and rushed out of my room. I made my way to the back door, which is a sliding glass door, and saw a puddle of water on the floor. Then I looked out the door and saw 2 people in my pool. I told the woman on the phone as much and that was when I realized that Ryan was in the pool with a girl having intimacy. I made my way outside and asked him what the actual F he thought he was doing. The girl screamed and looked at me like I was crazy and Ryan just smirked until he saw my firearm then raised his hands up. I put the phone up to my ear and told the woman that it was my neighbor's son and some girl, and they were hooking up in my pool. The security woman asked if I wished for the police to get involved and I told her yes, please do. I told the girl Ryan was about to get arrested for trespassing, so unless she wanted to be a part of that charge she should probably leave. She ran out of the pool and grabbed her clothes. Ryan said I was crazy and to put the damn thing away. I just turned around and went inside. The police showed up soon after and I pointed them in the direction of Ryan's house. They went over and arrested him, only for the whole neighborhood to come out and watch the spectacle. Ryan's dad marched over to my house and started yelling at me, asking why I was having his son arrested. I told him he was caught with a girl in my pool. I had footage of the whole thing. I had warned them both to stay out of my backyard, but Ryan kept refusing to acknowledge my boundaries. He asked if it was true I threatened him with a weapon, and I said I happened to be holding it at the time because I feared for my safety. He scoffed at me and said I had nothing to fear before, but now, maybe I did. Luckily for me, an officer nearby heard the entire thing and came over to de-escalate the situation. He told him to back off, and now his threat was going into his report, so if anyone tried anything with me again, they knew the first house to stop by. I thanked the officer and he asked me a few more questions. I plan to bring charges against Ryan, as I'm hoping that will teach him a lesson, but now a bunch of my neighbors hate me, as Ryan is considered like a saint around here. I'm also worried that Ryan or his dad might try to get revenge and I have never felt less safe in my life. I'm not sure where to go from here or what to do, as I can't afford to just move out.